12 miles and no major problems. First time I've been that far. Yeah, I think I'm good. Get passed by a big truck, you're really in trouble. There we go. Front brake again. Gotta stop. And I'm going back home. I'll have to make this trip in the van. Gotta go to an auto parts store. Okay, one conclusion I made. Honda Helix is not meant to get on the interstate highway. I'm never getting on the interstate highway again. The problem is, the engine will do it. You can get up to highway speeds, but the aerodynamics won't handle it. Not very good at all. Get passed by a big truck, you're really in trouble. So I'm not doing that anymore. I think the best range for this motorcycle, for this scooter, is 25 to 55 miles per hour. And even that's no wind. If it's even slightly windy outside, I mean, I would do it if it's slightly windy, but if it's sustained winds 10 miles an hour over, or gust over 10 miles an hour, I just won't go riding. That's simple. The wind really blows us around, and it's because of the aerodynamics of the body panels. So, if I was taking my van, I may go on an interstate highway to go where I'm going, but not on this. Definitely not on this. Hopefully video quality's a little better. I don't know if I've solved my front disc brake problem or not, but I'll find out on this ride. So what it is, while I'm going to auto parts store, I'm going to get a sheet of gasket paper, so I can make my own gasket to go on the intake manifold. Yesterday, while I was idling, I sprayed some starter fluid at that rubber intake manifold, and it was leaking so bad the engine shut off. So I tried to spray it a little lighter, and then RPM sped up a little bit, so it's definitely leaking. That's that intake boot. I suspect I have the original intake boot because the little circular groove that the rubber O-ring goes into has 4 sets of tabs to help hold that O-ring in there until you get it mounted. And what I've read and what I experienced, because I ordered an aftermarket manifold boot, they don't have those little 4 sets of tabs to help hold that O-ring in. And I think more than anything else is to keep that O-ring in that groove until you get it mounted. But the O-ring that was in it when I took the old boot off was really flat, so I got rid of that. I took the O-ring out of the aftermarket boot I bought and put it on the original boot. So it seems to be leaking a lot. So what I think may have happened is that O-ring may have come out of that groove a little bit. I can see where that could easily happen. There we go. Front brake again. Gotta stop. Yeah. I'm going back home. I'll have to make this trip in the van. So I'm convinced now. More work needs to be done on the front brake. I was just trying to accelerate and couldn't go past 40. I knew what the problem was because I've had it happen to me several times. Brake locking up. Gotta stop and bleed. I didn't even make it as far as I usually do before it happened to me today. So pick up the van and go to the auto parts store, get what I need. Because this isn't working. This isn't working. Had to use front brakes then. Yeah. They still feel okay right now. See if I can get home without having to stop and bleed them again. shouldn't have done that. Probably should have stopped. Light breeze, going up to 55 is no problem. Right now I'm like at 52. And I'm just feeling a little bit of buffeting wind, I think, coming around all sides of the windshield. Probably it's not that bad. If I keep riding like this with that front disc brake problem, it's going to just glaze over my brand new brake shoes and I'll have to replace them. It's not the end of the world. They're not that expensive, but still. Right now they feel pretty good, but it fools me every time. It fools me every time into thinking, okay, I'm not going to have any more problem with it. So it's either the slides that the brake shoes are on need to be sanded and greased a little bit, and or I got to clean out the caliper and master cylinder real well. Okay. My first official fill-up. Okay, it's a couple days later. Take a little ride to see if I've solved my problem. I cleaned out the master cylinder real good and just flushed the front disc brake system out with just fresh fluid before I bled it off. And there's a lot more play in the front brake handle than I've experienced before, so hopefully that's a good sign. And I made a homemade gasket for the intake manifold. Let's see how that works. Filled up with premium gas this time. Well, made it to my destination this time without the brake locking up on me. But I'm not very far from home. But I made it past the point that I did the other day. A lot more play in the front brake lever, so I think that's a good sign. We'll see. A little windy today, but not too bad. You can see the leaves moving around the trees a little bit. And it just lets me know I can't go too fast. There are a lot of comments that, oh, I've never experienced instability on mine or whatever. I think people just have different tolerances. I think the ones that say they haven't experienced any instability in wind or high speed just have a more tolerance themselves of instability issues, or maybe they're not having instability issues, really, I don't know. But overwhelmingly, the comments and research I've done, overwhelmingly, there's record of many Honda Helix riders saying they do experience instability in winds and high speed. So at least I think my senses are accurate anyway, as far as that goes. And like I say, it's a scooter. It's got small wheels. It's got those big plastic panels that act like sails in the wind. And the front grille, it's got these fins on it, which it needs because it's air cooled. So that allows air to get in and keep the radiator cool, which keeps the coolant cool, keeps the engine cool. That's fine. But I think it also, at higher speeds, it just makes sense the way it's shaped. You can easily see if wind is being fed into those fins faster and faster, that it would definitely provide uplift on the front end. And I'm guessing there's a lot more weight on the rear wheel to begin with, because the engine is pretty much right over top of the rear wheel. So the rear wheel is already taking more than half the weight of the vehicle. Then you put a rider and a passenger on it, especially, then the weight distribution between the wheels is even more exaggerated, and that doesn't help either. But like I say, it's a scooter. It's got its own little sweet spot, in my opinion, which is pretty much 45 to 55. I've seen some people say they've had them as high as 88. That's kind of hard to believe, but I guess if they've done some modifications, it's possible. I see people regularly say they've had theirs at 70 or above, and I just don't mind. I feel like that's possible for sure. Will I ever get it that high? I don't know. I don't really care to see what the top end is on it. I've had it to 64. It's as high as I had it, and I wasn't full throttle. So little doubt in my mind it would go 70 under ideal conditions, and maybe one day it'll not be a lot of wind. I'll be on a road, and that allows for me to max it out top end. But it's not on my hit list to try to find out what the top end on my Helix is. It's just not a priority for me. So I'll just let it be. It's not the kind of riding I want to do anyway. I don't want this on the interstate highway going across country or 200-300 miles away. That's not what I really got it for. Got it because it's a scooter. Never had a scooter before. And it has its place. It has its sweet spot, just like any other two-wheeler. They have their place. Dirt bike's not going to do as good on the street. Street bike's not going to do as good on the dirt. An adventure bike isn't going to do, even though it's an adventure bike is meant for street and trails. It's not going to do the best on either. So it has a spot. I like it. It's a keeper for now. And over the winter, I'll gradually kind of tweak things, make it a little better. For the most part, I've spent the money I'm going to spend on it. I got it running. Hopefully it's somewhat reliable now. I can take a little longer trips. And Over the winter, just be elbow grease mainly. I'm not trying to restore it to showroom condition because I'd have to spend so much money doing that that I'd be upside down. It wouldn't be. I'd never recoup my investment. Not that I plan on selling it, and I just want to give it a deep cleaning and restore some of the faded gray plastic. I got a plan for that. It looked much better if I did that. So, yeah, that's it. Pretty happy with it to date. Like I said, I'm about $1,600 all in, $800 purchase price, and another $800 in parts and supplies. I mean, truth is, I'm closer to $2,000 if I count all the tools I didn't have to work on it. You know, things like that, some supplies, some cleaning supplies, you know, grease, oil, radiator fluid, you know, coolant, things like that. If you count all that up, yeah, I'm probably closer to $2,000. But that kind of stuff I can use on other motorcycles. I did have to buy a few tools, but not too many. But those kind of things I can use if I turn this into more of a hobby. I believe I counted the other day, this is my 8th two-wheeler. I've had everything from 200cc mini bikes all the way up to 1600cc Harleys, and they all have their pluses and minuses. They all have their good surprises and their bad surprises. You can't expect the Honda Helix to be any different. It's great for the niche it was made for, and it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. So, all right, that's it.